Hello lads and lasses, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. Now, I hope you got your blues trousers on because today it's all about the 12 bar. Right then, today's little video is sort of an introduction really to playing Gary Moore, Walter Trout, Joe Bonamassa style electric blues. Let's get straight on with things by looking at what we're going to be doing in terms of the chords in this piece. Okay, so you probably know already that if you were going to do a 12 bar blues in the key of A, your three main chords would be A, D and E. But there's a little bit more to it than that. In order to inject some bluesiness into proceedings, what we do is make each of those chords into sevenths. So you'd get A7, D7 and E7. Now the reason that makes things sound bluesier is because if I play an A7 chord, for example, that chord tends to make you expect a D chord. Okay, if I play A7 and then follow it with a D chord, you can hear that that's a really satisfying cadence. Arriving on that D chord, everything sounds settled and finished, if you like, resolved. But in a blues, when we get to that D chord, instead of that nice settled resolved sound, we've actually got a D7th, which again sounds like it's leading on somewhere. That's the job of a seventh chord. It's to kind of make you feel like something else has to happen after it. And the chord that a D7 would draw your ear towards would be a G chord. So D7, and again, once you land on that G, it sounds really resolved and settled. It sounds like you could end there. Now in a standard A, D, E 12 bar blues, you never end up on that G chord. It never resolves properly. Even when we go from the E7, which would normally lead your ear towards an A chord, again, nice satisfying resolution. Even when we get to that A chord, it's not a proper A chord, it's an A7 again, which again makes your ear kind of think that something else needs to come after it, a D chord. And it's this perpetual motion, really, this concept that the chords never properly resolve onto the chord that your ear subconsciously expects, that is kind of what makes blues sound bluesy. If you think about it, a really slow blues, say 55-60 beats per minute, you're not relying upon the tempo to give it the momentum to drive it along. What's giving it the momentum is harmonically the chords that are kind of leading your ear on all the time and never quite getting to where you expect them to, which is kind of what gives it that bluesy angst. Right, coming up next is the chord sequence, the 12 bar blues in A using the A7, D7 and E7 chords, and then we're going to have a little bit of a look at how to solo over it. Right, so now you know what chords are going on in a 12 bar blues. What do we do about playing some lead guitar? Well, for this you need to know a little bit about the pentatonic scale. I've done other videos on this topic and I'll post the links in the description box below if you want to check it out in a bit more depth. But basically what you need to know about the scale that is used in the blues is that these chords, like this A7 chord and the D7 chord and so on, they may be seventh chords but they are still major chords. So you would kind of think that the natural choice of scale to play over a 12 bar blues in A, where the predominant chord is the A7 chord, would be the A major pentatonic to match up with the A major type chord that we've got. But what we do is something slightly different to that. We actually play the A minor pentatonic scale, and that clash, that slight dissonance that exists between the minor character of the scale and the major character of the chords is again what gives a degree of bluesiness to the sound. It's that sort of tension between what's going on in the scale and what's going on in the chords that makes the whole thing sound bluesy, I guess. Anyway, here's how to play the scale and what it looks like. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you play the pentatonic scale. Here's a couple of other pieces of information that are worth mentioning. First of all, this method that you've just seen in that demonstration is not the only way of playing the pentatonic scale. It can be expanded to cover the entire neck. And if you're interested in how to do that, then there's a couple of video links in the description box below. Check those out. The other thing that I should really mention is that there's one note in the scale. Well, it's one note that occurs several times. It's basically the third note in the scale, this one, the third fret on the A string. And if you count 5 notes up from that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there it is again there. 5th fret on the third string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there it is again there, 8th fret on the top E string. What you can do with that note is bend it slightly. Okay, basically don't bend it up as far as kind of the next fret, so you know that would sound like this. Just bend it slightly so you get that kind of thing, and if you include that in a phrase you'll get something like this. Here it is without it, here it is with it. Hear how much bluesier that sounds just with that one little tweak. So whenever you land on that note, give it that little kind of curl type bend and it will immediately make things sound a bit bluesier. Right then, when it comes to the topic actually of taking a scale and getting phrases out of it, there's another video in the description box below which describes how to do this, but briefly, don't just ramble. Don't ramble around the scale. Leave pauses for breath. So, you know, don't kind of play the scale in its entirety. Just break it up a little bit. That kind of thing. Move around a little bit. Don't just go in one direction. Kind of go up a bit and come down. Things like that. Vary the length of the notes. Like that, and it's pretty soon it'll start sounding like you're playing a guitar solo rather than just playing a scale. Anyway, coming up next, here is a bit of a solo that I improvised using the A minor pentatonic scale. Check this out. And there you have it, a blues guitar solo using the A minor pentatonic scale. Now then, as you probably gathered, I did venture outside the realm of that scale pattern that we looked at earlier, but nevertheless it was all pure A minor pentatonic. And if you're interested in learning to expand the scale to cover more of the neck, then as I say, there's instructions in the videos that I'll link to in the description box below. And there we have it. I think that's pretty much it for today. I hope you found it informative and useful, and maybe even a little bit inspiring. If you've enjoyed this video, then please hit the subscribe button, and that way you'll get to see more of them. If you live on Teesside and you would like some tailored one-to-one guitar lessons, then give me a shout via the details at the end of this video. And by the way, your first lesson is always free. And while I'm here, I will just give a plug for my new album, which is out now on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Google Play, all of the usual places that you buy music from, basically. It's called The Whiskey Made Me Do It, and it's chock full of bluesy rock guitar playing. Basically, if you're a fan of Stevie Ray Vaughan, Gary Moore, Walter Trout, Joe Bonamassa, Steve Morse, all that kind of stuff, then you're going to love this album. Give it a listen. It really is worth it, in my unbiased opinion. Anyway, that's it for now, folks. I'll see you all next time, and have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.